Welcome to the Hunter tier list, where we will be updating how this list will look now according to the patch notes that we have seen. So with the changes that we've seen, the first thing that I'll be starting with doing here is actually removing S+. The reason why I'm doing that is last patch, what I believe was the only S+ Hunter was Jewel. I did have Jewel and Ghost on S+, but on further investigation or like experience, I see that like Ghost is a top tier Hunter, but not like broken over the others kind of strength, but still top tier. Now with Jewel's nerfs, I think this balances her more out, which means that probably still a good character, good Hunter, but not broken. And with the changes overall, I don't think any Hunter is gonna be mega broken. We'll see. I might be totally wrong. And as always, I don't think there is any bad Hunters, but there will be some differences for the S, A, and B. Maybe I'll add some of the tiers later, we'll see. But I'll start with Bishop. So now, with Bishop, she didn't get any changes. Earlier, I think I had her on S. I think Bishop is like a fair A. Overall, with the meta and how things are, I don't see her doing exceptionally more stuff than other Hunters. I feel like Bishop is very well-rounded. With the changes, it doesn't do too much. So it's feel to like safe to put her for A for now. Brawl did get some nerfs. Earlier I had him in A tier. I think he still is A tier for like parentheses. This is like an average gameplay tier list. I think he's still A tier, but he'll probably be more in the back of the A tier. If this was for like high MMR or show match lobbies, I'll probably put him like C tier or something, honestly. Maybe like B tier if he's lucky. But I think like Brawl is still fine overall, but he's like gonna be more below back on others. Now Celeste also got a big nerf. I think it's kind of hard, like when I'm thinking about Celeste and Bishop, like Celeste with a nerf on her ultimate, which means that if she wants to do the damage, she needs to stay the full duration. It can be countered a lot. Also, like in average games, she doesn't get too much effect of the big radius and the peeling. Still good damage. I would maybe I would actually have Celeste under Bishop. I'll have to think more about that, but we'll see. Eluna got like a small nerf on her mobility when picking up wisps. I think Eluna is still probably like an S tier Hunter for average game. The nerfs aren't too big. It's something you just get used to when you're picking up a wisp, and it's more like somebody can actually try to stop you picking it up, so gives more counterplay on that part. But yeah, I think Eluna is like still good overall. Felix didn't get any changes. I think he's still one of the better Hunters. Might argue like back and forward here, but I think Felix is a very simple Hunter with good scalings, good playmaking potential, and easy to pick up, which gives a lot of value overall for average gameplay. So now for Ghost, didn't well, like he get a small buff, and before that I still think he was like really strong. I think probably maybe the best Hunter so far. You have a lot of skill expression with the Hunter. He doesn't have super much mobility. They kind of buffed it, but the damage output he has and other, I think he's still like on the top overall. Gunner didn't get any changes. Still gonna stay B&B. He doesn't have too much mobility. He has a good stand your ground potential, but in higher paced games I don't think he gets too much value, so it's harder to actually play with. But yeah, I would probably not pick Gunner too much. Like he's more dependent on having a composition build around him to get the value he wants. Jewel, I think, is probably top A. With the nerfs, makes that she can't just one-shot combo anybody without them being able to move. They nerfed the wind-up, they nerfed her damage on R&B, but her ult gives her more potential. I think the ult changes is interesting for more clumped-up fights, which can, of course, often happen. Probably like high A for now, not like an S tier S plus broken anymore, but still gives a lot of value. Kingpin, overall I would probably say the changes is good for mobility, like his shift cooldowns are better and mana is less. Hook is a bit nerfed over Abyss, but his dunk is better over Abyss. So the hook doesn't do too much unless you like playing it bad. So I would say like it's more of a buff overall. I think the value of the hunter and how you can build him in different ways means that you can get different values overall. He's not like broken or anything, and still the games that are fast paced isn't too much of his liking, but I think he gives pretty good value overall. Myth did get adjustments. I would say with the changes that Myth is for sure still an A tier hunter. I think the nerfs to the ult is fine, it doesn't do too much, but then the poke is also decently nerfed. But then overall, I think the LMB seems like a buff. I'm gonna have to like talk more with the Myth experts, but I think, as I said earlier, like Myth, the jack of all trades but master of none is still applicable. I would probably have Myth up here somewhere. I feel like you still get a lot of value with her on the team. But more of enhancing certain strengths of that you have on the team and not being super good on any aspect, if that makes sense. Ulf got pretty big buff on his scalings. His toughness went up, which means that he has a lot more health, more healing, and more shield output when building helm items. I think he probably is still like on the edge here. I would want to put him in A now because of the potential value he gains from being a tank and just a beefy frontliner. So I'm like not sure how it's gonna pan out. Probably still on the bottom here, but it helps him overall. I think it's like good changes. For Shiv, with the nerfs, I think that Shiv is still gonna be strong, like A overall. I would probably something like this as like Shiv you need to be really good at to get the value, so I take it a little bit down for the potential skill expression you will have, but you will need a lot of experience. But the more experience you have with Shiv, the higher she gets on the list basically. But this is looking for like average overall for not too many games. Shrike, still an A tier hunter. Even if you can't kill somebody with the double shot passive, I think you can still apply a lot of pressure by just hitting one shot. I would probably say she's easier to get value out of. Maybe somewhere around here, honestly, like it's harder to get value out of the bishops. I would probably like have Shrike up here because it's easier to get value out of a Shrike rather than some other of the hunters. Now for Void, he got tiny buff, but still like hard to play in fast-paced games. Probably still in B tier. With Seth, the changes is to help in early game and a little bit weaker in late game. I think one of the reasons why I put him in B tier last was because of his early game was weak, and by now buffing his early game, being able to get through that with the powers of getting more mana, he's faster and etc., making it easier to get value out of him later. Probably better than Oath. Not sure if I want to put him over Brawl. Probably something like this. And then Stalker didn't get any changes. He's just like Stalker is just a worse form than Brawl at the moment. Like Stalker is just a worse Brawl, I feel like. Probably like down here in the bottom. He does get value from one-shot potential and more creative angles, but I would say that in general Stalker just needs to be looked at. I don't think he brings too much of a value. Like he will just be Brawl but weaker kind of stuff. Now looking at this list overall, I would I think I'd like fairly okay with this. I feel with average gameplay overall, maybe I am undervaluing Celeste a bit with the nerf, but I feel like it impacted her quite a bit. Again, all hunters are viable. Like the better you are on a hunter, the more value you will get of them. Some hunters have a higher skill ceiling depending on how much you play them, but I feel like this is fair overall. The winners are, I would say, Ghost, of course, like not being touched from last time and being potentially like a lot of DPS output. So I think Ghost is the one to look out for. I don't think he's broken by any means, but I think there's so much output damage you can get from Ghost. Like having one other hunter on the team, which can help on peeling, I think it's good. I feel like Felix is still not touched. I think he's very strong with the... Honestly, maybe I put him down because of the power nerfs. Because he is one who's really good with, for example, the Thorn Mails and the Burning Core. But you would, of course, like if you have Barrier combo, kind of insane. Honestly, maybe I still keep it like this. I would say that... yeah, I'm pretty happy with this overall. Of course, we have not been able to test with the changes of the patch note. This can look differently, but this is my first impression coming into the playtest of average gameplay, at least. Well, hope you guys enjoy. Hope I see a lot of you guys on the playtest this August. And I'll see you guys for the next video. Remember to subscribe.